So there's about a 1-year period she's going to be in K2 Bhukti. And K2 is just notorious for causing things like divorce, especially in the 7th house. Where is K2 in her chart? Oh, well, it's in the 7th house of Capricorn. There's definitely financial losses. She probably hasn't heard the end of it with the issue she's having with the royal family. We'll probably see more things crop up with that in the next couple years. And yeah, she's probably going to be doing some more things with media, but I don't think she's going to be that as successful as she believes at all. I don't see that happening. Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have recently moved to Los Angeles. What's next in their future? Hi, I'm Thor Sandalwood, and today we're going to be looking at Meghan's chart using astrology to look more into her future. First off, I would like to thank my viewers who have kindly made donations to the channel, and also all of the viewers that have requested readings from me. This helps support the channel and helps grow the channel because I'm still a very small channel, and I'd like to grow this channel so we can increase this wonderful message we have of the Vedic teachings, also astrology, because what I'm involved in is what a lot of light workers are involved in during this time of lots of struggle with the pandemic and the economic problems that are going on. So it's all important for all of us light workers to be supported and helped during this time. So thank you guys for those donations and requests for readings. Okay guys, so let's take a look at Meghan Markle's chart. I'm going to put a link to the video I did in the past where I looked at Prince Harry's chart, and we were looking at that whole Megxit situation when they decided to step down from their royal duties. So I didn't have the chance to look at Meghan's chart. When I pulled up Meghan's chart, I was actually really surprised to see how the configurations in her chart. First of all, we see that she's a Cancer ascendant. And if you guys remember in Vedic astrology, we look at the ascendant. In Western astrology, they call that the rising sign. So it's a little different. We don't look at a sun sign or a moon sign. We mostly focus on the ascendant sign in Vedic astrology. That's mostly what we base our predictions on. But also we do take a look a lot at the moon. So a Cancer, right off the bat, we know that Cancers, they're usually very home-oriented. It's the sign that's ruled by the moon. So Cancers are very motherly-like, very home-oriented. The moon is about homeland, your ethnic culture. So isn't it a surprise that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry decided to move to the Los Angeles area where Meghan Markle was born? So they're pretty close to where she was born. She was born in the San Fernando area or near there. So that's interesting to look at. And Cancers are very tied to homeland. What I do notice is in her first house, I mean, she has Sun, she has Mercury, and she has Rahu there. And she's got the malefic planets there, and that can produce that inauspicious yoga where someone is a little deceitful, especially with Rahu being in the first house. The sun makes Meghan Markle that person that glows when she enters a room. Everyone notices her. She wants to be the center of attention. So it gives her that magnetic energy where when she walks in, especially in probably these Hollywood parties or wherever that they're going, everyone notices Meghan and Harry walking in, especially Meghan, because she has the sun in the first house. Now, having Rahu in the first house can mean that in this lifetime, Meghan is specifically focused on developing her own identity and herself. Wherever K2 lands in your chart is where your soul is disinterested and apathetic. It has a lot of experience in that house, but you tend not to have that much interest in this lifetime in pursuing things with what K2 is attached to. And 7th house is the 7th house of marriage. So we know that Meghan has gotten married in the past and she got divorced. That is not very surprising with K2 being in the 7th house. It shows that their partners tend to be, even though it's karmic, she tends to be less attached to her partners than her partners are attached to her. So you'll see a tendency with someone with K2 in the 7th house, especially when it's just alone like this, that person tends to be the more disinterested party in a relationship. In a lot of marriages and in a lot of serious relationships, you usually see that one person is more attached than the other one. She would be the less attached person, even though she's a Cancer. So that's a very important thing to look at as far as Meghan's future here in Los Angeles with Prince Harry. Since she has K2 in the 7th, there can definitely be some warning signs there. Next thing I want to look at, Mercury. Mercury in the 1st house, we know that she is very verbose. She's actually done some recording recently. I think she was working with Disney, doing some narration work. So Mercury being in the 1st house, that has to do with speech. Mercury in the 1st house would make a very chatty person, especially also since she has her moon in the 3rd house, which has to do with conversation, talkative mentality, mental scripts. So Meghan, definitely the people around her, as the public, we probably don't see it, but to the people around her, she's a very chatty type, gossipy type of person. So she would be well known. She probably says a lot more than what Prince Harry says to the people around them. If we want to look at the socio-material attributes of the Meghan Markle Prince Harry marriage, we can look at the 2nd house in a chart. The 2nd house is an indicator for a second marriage. So 7th house is usually the big indicator for the first marriage. And then for a second marriage, we look at the 2nd house. And 2nd house has Venus in it. And Venus is the karaka of luxury. It's the karaka of money. So when Meghan Markle was marrying Prince Harry, we all know that she was marrying up. She became a member of the royal family without even being a native of the United Kingdom, which is pretty remarkable, and I'm sure many people around the world wish that they could do that as well. So the social material attribute of the marriage, Venus is in the 2nd house. That's strong for the money. It also can indicate a lot of pure relationships. It can be business contracts as well. So there was a video that came out where Prince Harry was trying to make a deal with a Disney executive and getting work for Meghan, and it appears that it was successful because of those business contracts and so forth. One thing that I noticed was her moon's in the 3rd house of Virgo. The moon in the 3rd house can be very indicative of Meghan's mentality, and like I said earlier, she likes to talk and chat, message, and all types of 3rd house activities like that. But also the moon explains how her mother is like, since the moon is the ultimate signification in a chart of your mother. So the moon and the 4th house can be significations of your mother in your birth chart. So if we look at the moon being in the 3rd house, we see that it's also accompanied by Saturn and Jupiter. And Saturn can be a little bit of an issue there. So Saturn can mean that she definitely has blockages and issues with her mother. She might feel that she wasn't emotionally recognized all the way. There's some emotional blocks there. The mother could seem oppressive. So it's interesting because Jupiter's in that sign as well. And so Jupiter's kind of wanting to expand the 3rd house things. And then Saturn's there wanting to restrict and reduce that relationship with mother. So it's got to be a very interesting relationship. Sure, they probably talk a lot with Jupiter being there, but Saturn can mean there might be this feeling of judgment from the mother. Saturn and moon together can also mean that she is trying to feel some sort of approval from society, because Saturn is the karaka of overall society. So she really, really wants to be liked in the media. 3rd house also represents media. She really wants to be liked by the media and the paparazzi. And Saturn there can mean that she's not really feeling the love. Hence why we found out that in Britain, she apparently was having a bad time and she wanted to leave with the whole Megxit situation because she felt that the people there were unfairly criticizing her. And we can actually take a look at that as well by analyzing her 12th house. We see Mars there in the 12th house. Obviously, 12th house is going to indicate how Meghan's experiencing other countries. So Mars being there. Now, there's good things and bad things about this placement because Mars, for a Cancer ascendant, is the Yoga Karaka planet. It rules the 5th house and the 10th house, which makes it a really good planet for a Cancer ascendant. So it's got that 5th house luck, that 5th house grace, but it also has that 10th house of career. And lo and behold, Meghan went to marry Prince Harry, and she got a lot of recognition, probably more recognition than she ever got even with her Hollywood career. I mean, this was broadcast around the world, and many billions of people know Meghan Markle's name now. However, the downside is we know Mars is still malefic in nature. So there's pressure there. There's conflict there. There's a feeling of maybe she feels that she's being unfairly judged. Even if it's not necessarily true, she's very hypersensitive. Remember, Saturn and Moon, and then having Mars in the 12th house, it can mean that she's overly sensitive to the criticisms. Like, some people might just shrug it off as, whatever, this is just what the media does. But she's taking this stuff very much to heart, and that's why she's having these strong reactions that she probably told Prince Harry, we gotta go. I gotta get out of here because I don't like it. So if we want to take out a look at her life right now, we got Jupiter Mahadasha. Jupiter rules the 6th house, and it also rules the 9th house. So she's been in Jupiter Mahadasha since August of 2015. And so what the whole Jupiter rulership, even though Jupiter is a positive planet, it rules, it rules the 9th house, which is great. It's really good for just dharma, good luck, and that kind of thing. But for a Cancer ascendant, Jupiter just having that 6th house lordship means it can bring just lots of problems and trouble to somebody. So obviously, we can figure out that in 2015, when she entered Jupiter Mahadasha, there was kind of this buildup that was happening for this Megxit situation because of the 6th house conflict. So we could definitely, and Jupiter expands things. It expanded the conflict. So we can definitely see that that's what happened with Meghan. And then if we want to focus a little more on Mercury, because she's in that sub period of Mercury, and Mercury rules the 3rd house and the 12th house. And she's just got so many planets going on there, guys. I mean, first of all, Mercury means she's probably extremely busy, because 3rd house signification can mean just busyness in general. Lots of meetings, lots of memos, lots of memorandum, all types of stuff, emails, text, social media queen probably in her life. But 12th house, it can indicate some losses because Mercury rules the 12th house. So maybe even though they're buying this house in Beverly Hills, I think they said it's worth $18 million. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But it could be that they're starting to see the bank accounts kind of like dwindle a little bit. Like maybe it's not as easy as they thought, especially moving to Beverly Hills, even though they're very high profile. And maybe she's getting some work. I mean, to maintain that lifestyle in Beverly Hills is going to take quite a bit of money. And so she might be experiencing some losses there because 12th house is losses. And then Mars is there. So there's definitely some conflicts and feelings of pressure there. I mean, she's got basically 2 malefic planets being activated right now because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So it's activating that planet Mars, and it's activating Saturn. So there's just a lot of anxiety. Whenever Mars and Saturn are active, it's like, and they're both active, it's like this push-pull dynamic. So it's kind of like you want to do something, but you're being held back from fully executing whatever you're wanting. Interesting thing about the 12th house is 12th house can represent like your fantasies about things, and Mars can mean very vivid, aggressive type fantasies about whatever she thinks in her imagination. Mars in the 12th house could also be a house where somebody could cheat on somebody, because 12th house is 6 houses from the 7th house. And the 12th house is called the enemy of marriage, because, you know, you can see affairs and different things coming out of the 12th house. 12th house is those things that are hidden. So I am in absolutely no way saying Meghan's involved in anything, but that there is a possibility there, with Mars being in the 12th house, being that aggressive kind of energy there. And then also K2 being in the 7th house with that detachment from the marriage. And this is what I see in a chart. It doesn't mean that she's actually doing anything about it, but we can see the karmic tendencies there. So that's what I'm looking at. We can definitely see a karmic tendency there. So right now we just see that she's very busy with everything. She's got a lot of problems right now, guys. Jupiter's activating the 6th house. Then she's in Mercury. You got 12th house and 3rd house. 3rd house is kind of considered a mild malefic house, just because it's a house where we're trying to experiment and find out our self-will and what we want to do. So 3rd house is considered a cruel house, and she has Saturn there. And even though Jupiter's there, Saturn just kind of like, I always think Saturn's kind of like the poop in the punch bowl, so to speak. Like, there's just Jupiter there, but she's got Saturn. So there's definitely issues there. One thing that I do want to bring up, guys, is there is a potential for a divorce in the future with Meghan and Harry. And I believe you guys can check out my last video where I looked at Prince Harry's chart and was able to see there's a potential there for some sort of divorce situation. If we look at her chart, the first thing we can do is Jupiter is the signifier for marriages in a woman's chart. And sometimes we can just look at how many planets are with Jupiter to see if there's multiple marriages. And look at that. So she's got Jupiter there, and then she's got Saturn and Moon with it. So it could represent 3 marriages in her life. It's not guaranteed, but it could represent 3 marriages. Also, again, with K2 being in the 7th house, it just creates that apathy towards marriage, just not being very attached to the marriage vow, like not very... See, with Rahu in the 1st, it's kind of like the focus in her life is more like, everybody look at me, 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 me. She wants to be the center of attention. So for her to be riding on the coattail, so to speak, of Prince Harry is very difficult for her. She wants to be seen as making herself... You know, she doesn't need to depend on him. She's already famous in her mind, you know. She doesn't want to rely on someone else to make her famous. But as Rahu does, Rahu will do it by any means necessary. One thing that I am concerned about with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry is Meghan is entering Jupiter K2 on July 19th, 2022, guys. And she's going to be in that sub-period till June of 2023. So there's about a 1-year period she's going to be in K2 Bhukti. And K2 is just notorious for causing things like divorce, especially in the 7th house. 7th house is marriage. So if we're looking at a K2 Bhukti, we're going to look at where is K2 in her chart. Oh, well, it's in the 7th house of Capricorn. And this is definitely that year between summer of 2022 and summer of 2023, she could definitely be in the danger zone for a divorce. And K2 is notorious for that. K2 is the Karaka for cutting things off. And it'd be quite sad to see that. But again, I see in her chart that a lot of the energy she's focused on herself. It can kind of mean, with Rahu there in the 1st house, it could kind of be a narcissistic type thing, and that's not a diagnosis or anything, but she could have narcissistic tendencies where she wants to focus on herself. That's an interpretation for Rahu being there. So yeah, guys, I see that she's facing a lot of difficulties right now. There's losses. There's definitely financial losses, and there's also just difficulty with that Saturn Mars being activated. We got the 6th Lord Jupiter activating, so there's just lots of problems. She probably hasn't heard the end of it with the issue she's having with the royal family. We'll probably see more things crop up with that in the next couple years. We're going to probably see just more conflict. And yeah, she's probably going to be doing some more things with media, but I don't think she's going to be that as successful as she believes at all with some of these media efforts that she's making to try to develop her career. I don't see that happening. And then with K2, there is the potential for that divorce, which is sad to say, guys. We might be seeing a divorce, and we might be seeing Prince Harry move back to the United Kingdom in the future. Guys, tell me what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments below. I'm thankful for all your guys' comments. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more readings and more videos. Thank you guys for watching. Bye-bye.